Hi guys, this is Ruby with MRV Financial. Thank you so much for joining us today for our topic of the week for our monthly sessions. As always, please don't forget to follow us, subscribe, like, and share our information through our medias. We are on Facebook, we are on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify. If you have any questions for us, please do not hesitate to reach out to us directly. So let's go ahead and share this knowledge with you so that you could go sharing it with your friends and family, as we never know who we can help. So let's get on with our topic. For today's topic of the week, we are going to talk about the credit reports, how to read them. It may seem like a lot, but once you do it a few times, you're going to learn how to stay on top of your reports so that you could always maintain your credit, improve it, do whatever you need to do. I think this is a very basic skill that, most people should have. So, if anybody that, will benefit from learning about their credit reports, go ahead and shoot them this message to them. So first step, how do I get my credit report? Everyone gets one free credit report from the three credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. I have the website up. It's called annualcreditreport.com. Every year, you could go ahead, log into this website. You'll see the icon, request your credit report. You will click that on, and you would go ahead and follow all the instructions. It will ask you for your social security number, your date of birth, specific information that you only know about yourself. And then it's going to ask you for some security questions as well to make sure that it is you. That's to protect you from identity theft. So go ahead and, follow the process. If for whatever reason your credit is not available electronically, they will give you the option to get it mailed to you. So if you're not able to download the PDF file, you could do it from your phone, you could do it from your computer. They do have the mobile app, or you could just Google on your phone, your smartphone browser. You could save the PDF for each one of your reports. So you will do one report first. Let's say you get Equifax first. Download that one, go through the process for the second one, and the same thing for the third one. So the other two are TransUnion and Experian. They will each let you know which one's getting mailed and which one you get electronically. Usually, if it's your first time running it, they may mail it to you. Or if it's been a long time that you've run it, they may mail it to you. But once you start to run it and keep up with it yearly, they'll start to recognize that you're maintaining it. So it's easier for you to, get it via by the internet rather than having to wait through the mail. So that's basically how you go about receiving your credit reports. Then the next step is, okay, you got your reports. How do you read them? I have the samples for each one of the reports from each one of the websites. So this is the sample for Equifax. This is the sample for TransUnion. And then we have the one for Experian as well. And then I also have the website up for the Federal Consumer, the Federal Trade Commissioner's Office. This is basically where you get to dispute, or this is not where you get to dispute, but they are the ones that hover over the other two companies that basically is keeping an eye on them to make sure that they are reporting everything accurately. So if you want to learn about what are the responsibilities of you, as a consumer, and what are the responsibilities of the credit bureaus, what are the responsibilities of the people reporting to the credit bureaus, this is the website where you could go ahead and get that information. So these are the three websites that you become accustomed to learning as you improve your credit or if you work with a specialist like, our company. This is basically where everybody pulls their information from. These are the guidelines that everybody follows, very standard type companies. So you should know who they are. So Equifax, so the reports, I'm going to give a general overview of what you should see. They all say the same thing, but they say it in their own format and they say it in their own language. So once you start with the credit report, we'll go through the Equifax one. So the first thing is you may or may not get your credit scores are not going to be listed here. This is going to be listing most of your details to it. If you want an actual score, that's what's called a FICO score. The FICO score basically gets generated from these three companies. So let's say that with each company, they tell you that your credit score is at 640, 650. And the other one says that it's at 630, and then the other one says you're at 645. You will graph those three numbers and they average out the three numbers. So whatever the average is between those three numbers, that's what your score will be. So let's say you're in the 700s. It doesn't matter where you are, that's basically what they graph. So what you're looking for is the consistencies. They all should have about the same score. Like you want all of them to report the same score. If that doesn't happen, that just goes to tell you that there's something missing in one report. You're going to have to investigate, have your three reports in front of you, just how we're doing it. If you're comfortable on paper, go ahead and print it and just kind of go line by line and figure out what's missing with one versus the other. Our goal is always have as many good reportable items on this report. So when lenders start to look at the numbers that we're giving, these are just statistics. It doesn't really say anything other than statistically speaking, this is basically how it goes. So you're at the 580 or below. Basically, it's harder for you to obtain credit card or any kind of credit approval. If you're looking to buy a house, if you're looking to, you could buy a car, but you get really high interest rates. They ask you for a cosigner. It's a little bit harder because according to the data that they have collected over the years, the historical data has, came back time and time again that people that land in this bucket have a hard time keeping up a good credit. So that's why they, make it a little harder to make sure that they get their money back. 625 to 680, that's basically that qualifies you to purchase a home depending on the lender. There are lenders that will go as below as 625. There are lenders that they're like, nope, I'm not going to do anything under 680. That's just, it goes from lender to lender, but that's when you qualify to, purchase a home. That's a larger ticket item. Your car loans will come at a lower interest rate. And then 670 to 739, that's considered good credit. That gives you more buying power. And then 740 to 799, that's considered very good. And then exceptional is 800 to 850. You get the best rates on anything that you want to buy. There's been historically 1% of the population have achieved this. So this is very hard to get to. As I'm stating, historically speaking, 1% of the population stay here and have gotten this, but it's really hard to stay there, as well as your credit score gets updated so often. It gets updated every time you make a payment or you don't make a payment. Anytime there's any history, any activity going on in your credit. The length of time, it's another thing that they look at. How long have you been paying your bills on time? How long have you had your credit you know, are you closing accounts? What are you doing? It's kind of things that they look at. So to get the perfect credit, if that's what, everybody's goal is usually is um, you're gonna need to make sure that you pay all your bills on time, all the time. I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but paying one card this month and not paying another one next month because you already made a payment to this other one, that doesn't help you. You need to pay every single one of your reportable bills on time. You must have a mix of loans as well, such as, auto, mortgage, a credit card. And then most of them must have been paid as well, except for like your mortgage. And if you want to get to that 800, that 850 is not advisable that you charge more than 7% of your available credit. So it's basically saying out of 100% of credit that they're going to lend me, I'm only going to use 7%. That's all I'm going to use. And that will keep you in that, 800 high above numbers. Of course, if you continue to do everything else, paying everything on time, having a good mixture of credit cards. Expanding your credit lines. That's something that you should be doing every year as well. It doesn't, just because you're expanding your credit doesn't mean that you should be using it. So back to that 7% of, yeah, I want to keep expanding my credit for the sake of getting a better credit score, not because I'm actually going to use it. That's how they come up with that mix of only use the 7%. The score that the FICO reports, as I've said, it's from the 3 credit bureaus, but there's about 50 different scoring models out there, but your main score is a 3, and FICO 9 is the most current report or FICO score at this time that most of your lenders use. Once you get to, the 780 or above, lenders tend to look at you as a low credit risk. You get the best interest rates. You practically guaranteed a yes from anybody because of your history. So yeah, let's get into the reports so that we could see how to read the rest of the reports. Most of the reports are going to give you a credit summary, basically, of your account activity, the account information, that's all of the details of the account. So if you have a Macy's, if you have an American Express, if you have, a Discover, like I'm just naming names just for the sake of conversation. And then the inquiries, this is anything where you've requested for your report to be ranked. There's 2 different types. There is the soft hits and there are the hard hits. The hard hits is anywhere where you go to try to get a loan. So if you go try and get a mortgage, if you go try and buy a car, if you're at the store and they ask you if you want to sign up for their credit card because you're going to get 10% off. Well, if you're shopping around, I would not do that unless you're actually interested in getting the credit card, because that's going to stay on your history for 2 years. It is advisable to only run your credit twice a year. That just lowers your points every time you're just having your credit ranked everywhere. That lowers your score as well. The soft hits are more of you're buying an insurance for your house, for your car. You're running your reports on your own through this, annualcreditreport.com, or you're paying a vendor, to run your credit reports for you. You're taking the initiative to clean it up. So that does not count against you. They should not see that. The external parties should only see when you're looking for loans. Any negative information, any bankruptcies, liens, garnishments, and other judgments, it'll be reported. Your personal information, so be sure to look at the personal information. This is where you can identify if there's any identity theft for you, like is someone using my information, what address did that come up, have I ever had that address? So important that you look to make sure that everything is accurate on, and then if not, getting it cleaned up, that's a whole different conversation. Then there's the dispute file information, how to go about disputing it. Everything is on the back of the report. And then your rights, that's basically this website that I just took you to. It'll give you your rights as yeah. And then the last things are how to get control of your identity theft, and then your rights under the state law. So as we said, here is the first thing, the credit summary. So it's basically telling you about what they're doing, the lender's information, so any mortgagee. So this is a brief summary of this is how much you have in installment loans, and this is your DTI, which is debt to credit ratio. Everyone looks at this, that 7% that I was talking about. This is what they want to see. The lower, the better. The average is 36% to 30% if you want to stay in the 600 bucket. If you want to jump up to the 700-800 bucket, then you're going to need to lower that as close as you can to the 7. If you could get to the 7, stay there and keep doing all of those good things. This is exactly where they see that number. So according to this sample report, they're basically saying you're using 117% of what I've lent you. So they're actually went over the amount they were borrowed. It's basically how you were reading the story on this one. They only let them borrow 100%, but this report shows that they went 17% over their limits. So this is not something that looks positive for you. And then it'll give you the debt by account, it'll give you graphs, it'll give you your length of history. The length of history is very important. They want to see this to be long. If you're constantly closing accounts, this closes to a year, 2 years. So it's not advisable for you to be closing accounts unless you know what you're doing. But it's very common that I see people that they use a credit card, they close it, and then it'll take a while before they open up another one where your history has been closed. So it is not advisable for you to close them. But if you are going through like a credit restoration process, you got to know which accounts to close first and like how to close them appropriately so that it doesn't, make it worse for you basically. It'll show your mortgage accounts if there's any inquiries. So this is just a snapshot summary. So it'll show the most recent one there, any public records, negative accounts, any collections, they do get reported here. And then right here, they're going to start giving you the installment account. So they'll start with, these are your open accounts. This is the name of the person that you're borrowing from. This is your account number when you opened it, what your balance is, the last time they reported it, if there's anything past due. And then these codes here tell you basically what your standing is with them. Are you in good standing? Are you late? Where are you? So you may see here different codes. You may see collection account, you may see foreclosure, voluntary surrender, you may see repossessions, but for the most part, the charge-off, it's basically you going to collection. And you will see those down here too. As you could see, there's a 60 here. So this tells you that this person, this report went 60 days without being paid. That's basically what the days mean. So if you see the little stars, as on this report, each report is going to report it differently. This one's going to show X, okay, 30, 60, collection, voluntary. So here, but they all tell you exactly what they mean. So on the, let's make this one bigger because it is tiny. So on the Experian, you're going to see the same thing. It's just they all say it in different ways. So this one just says paid past due 60 days. So it's just a matter of knowing how to look for the information where. So this one, it says that this was a loan for 120. It looks like that's 10 years. There it is. It's a student loan. And monthly due, what they pay a month and what their paid as agreed is. They've been on time except that one time. And then here is though you always get the contact information. You will always get the information about the person that's reporting everything. So that's for you to be able to contact them and start to, talk to them. If there's something wrong with your credit report, you will need to go through a dispute process. You do not call them and tell them. You basically have to write them a letter and stay on top of them so that they take care of it. But calling them, you should only call them to follow up on the letter, not to tell them what's wrong. They should have copies of everything that you're disputing, the reasons why. You can just say, don't report that because I don't want you to. Like, it doesn't work that way. That's their job. If just because you went to collection, there's a process that you got to go through to get it removed from your credit. And then, so it'll give you the history for all of them. So this one, again, pay as agreed. There's Wells Fargo again. There's a difference. So this person, these are all student loans. That's what this looks like to me. These are all student loans. So there's Wells Fargo. It was open and that was it. Now we have the closed accounts. So then here it'll say this was charged off. So this is an example that it means that it was closed for future use, although they still owe it. They'll be reporting the balance according to how it's being paid off. So it'll be charged off. And then once it gets paid off, it'll turn to paid off charge. So like, let's see, this one says 0 balance due. So then the charge off amount was $29.76. So this is the part of once it gets paid, they'll say, okay, it's paid off. And then it's not as bad on your credit. So that's that. So you get, like I said, on this section, this is when you get, if it's a collection, whatever the probable, the status is. It'll show you what type of account it is, how long you've had it for, the date open, when they're reporting it, the last payment that was made, the amount that you're scheduled to pay. And then if you had any delinquency, it'll show here too. So then here it is. You start to see what's fine, it was fine, and then they went late, 60, then 30, they got better, and then they got really worse, and then they got better. So, the idea is to see all these stars. And then your revolving account, it'll just say the same thing. It'll give you the information on it. And then here it'll give you this will give you the quick snapshot of what's going on with this one. So this one's, in collection. The next one, this one looks good. It's all stars. So it'll tell you who it is here. So these are the kind of people that you want to keep on your credit. So you want to make sure that you continue using the cards, even if you do it every 3 months, every 6 months, just to keep it open, pay it off, repeat, and just repeat every single time. So that's that. So as you could see, it'll just keep going until it tells you, okay, you're done. And then, so here's the payment history that I was telling you about, the symbols, that they will tell you exactly within the report how to read your reports. The inquiries, if there's any inquiries made, as we already talked about them, the positive ones and the negative ones, or the soft hits versus the hard hits, they will show here. And then they will show you as well the codes that they use about what type of inquiry it was, what your negative accounts comments are, any open accounts that are delinquent. So this is where you're going to start seeing them, or just open accounts, because this doesn't seem like it is, but it'll tell you right here exactly the status. See, pay as agreed. They haven't had no delinquency on this one, although it shows that. This one's good. So this look is that same 60 days in October they were struggling. And then you see all of the all of the history for them. So you just get all of your cards. So depending on how much credit cards you have, depending on what you have out there, that's how big the report will be. I do not be shocked if you have a lot of credit and you see a 50-page report. Well, now you just got to go through a 50-page report. Any personal information, as we said, be sure that you look at your public records, your personal information, make sure that it doesn't look like there's been any kind of identity theft there, your employment history, if there's any alerts. If you want to dispute, they will tell you the process here on how to go about dispute, how to order your score by phone, your rights, as we said. And yeah, that's one report. If we look at all of the reports, they're all going to have the same information. They're just going to display it to you in a different way. The point and the effect of all this is to get them to all say the same thing. They should, some reports, like let's say TransUnion, may be reporting an auto loan, but then Equifax is not going to report that auto loan because they don't all report the same things all the time. So if that's what the difference is, if you're shopping, if you want everything to be, reported properly, then, that's when you will take it upon yourself. So as we said with this one, there's a name. So like this person, it's very common for you to get a lot of different variations of what your name is. If you have a difficult name, if you have an easy name too, like Smith, could be spelled in so many different ways. So it would be a matter of you cleaning that up. Any addresses that you have lived at, and the last time they reported you living there, any phone numbers that have been reported, they will be here. So check that they actually are yours. Your employment data, public records, same thing, adjustable rate mortgage information. So here they're giving you that, and then the account information. So they're giving you the code. Adverse accounts is what they're going to start with on this one, and they're just the same thing. They will give you all of the information here about the loan. They will give you all of the status. Same thing here. And then your good accounts, it'll say the same thing. Here is where we are. And then your regular inquiries, any promotional inquiries, account overview inquiries, your consumer statement, additional information, any other messages, and then the analysis. And so then that's the second report. As you could see, they're saying the same thing, but they're not saying as much as the other one. But this is not the same person. These are just random reports that they have available on their website. And then we have here the Experian report. Same thing, they'll give you on this one your report number, your name, the report that you ran it, any information about how they collect their information, any negative items is the very first thing that they're going to let you know here. So they all tell you the same thing. They just choose how to list it on them. So as long as you know what you're looking for, you should be able to cross-reference across all of your reports. So here is all your credit items. So let's say you have this first one, it's the same information, how long you've had it, your history. This one is not showing that little graph with like the codes at the bottom, but typically they will. Here's all the personal information. So make sure that you look at that, how to contact them. And yeah, so that is basically how you read your credit reports. So if you have any questions for us, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. As always, we are here to help. And we look forward to seeing you again on our next monthly video. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon.